The Witcher books are host to some very powerful villains. The villains in the Witcher books range very vastly, from very strong mages like Vilgefortz to incredibly strong vampires like Verena. These villains, however, are not strict to fantastical beings like mages or vampires. In fact, this extends to humans. You'd think that in a very fantastical world like The Witcher, full of, well, witchers, mages, vampires, and many such monsters, one such as I or yourself wouldn't stand a chance or hold a candle to any of these entities. But what if I were to tell you that there were one such human who defies everything you've ever known about The Witcher and its power hierarchy? The man in question, of course, is Leo Bonhart. If you're familiar with the books and, well, the Netflix series, then you're probably very familiar with a man named Leo Bonhart. Bonhart is an absolute menace throughout the book series. This is shown time and time again throughout the various feats that he displays in the books. Not only is he stated to be incredibly strong by other very strong characters, but he shows it through his fights too. Before we delve deeper into the topic of today's video being if Bonhart did truly slay 3 Witchers, I'd like to ask you guys very humbly to subscribe if you enjoy the video. We've seen some crazy growth on the channel that's completely blown my mind, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. We also have a Discord, and I will have the link for that in the description. We play a lot of mini games there, and there's a lot of really fun chats that take place there too. I'd love to see a few of you guys there. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the topic of today's video. Before we get into anything at all, I'd like to make it abundantly clear that there are going to be spoilers for the book series and some of the games in this video too. So, if you haven't read the books and you want to read the books spoiler free, you might want to click off of this video. Bonhart is a bounty hunter. I'm sure most of you don't need me to explain what a bounty hunter is, but for the sake of this video, I'll do it anyway. In layman's terms, a bounty hunter is someone who goes around collecting bounties that are put on people by people, or in the world of The Witcher, put on monsters by people. These are considered contracts when it's a Witcher taking it, but still a bounty regardless. Essentially, you get paid some form of currency for doing a job, typically killing something or someone. Standardly speaking, you have to be incredibly smart and or strong to be a bounty hunter. Making good coin in a line of work that bids on you killing people kind of demands that you know what you're doing. Before becoming a bounty hunter, Bonhart was a soldier, which gave him a little bit of a leg up considering he had previous combat experience. These lines of work fit like a puzzle piece in Bonhart's life, considering he's a sadist. Bonhart takes great pleasure in inflicting pain on others and witnessing brutal scenes occur. Though this immediately rings off as a pretty evil thing to be or enjoy witnessing, Bonhart does have a moral compass that stops at a certain point. Bonhart is described as being visibly perturbed by the Marchioness of Ebbing and her husband. The reason for this being, well, let's just say they share a common interest with Jeffrey Epstein. Though it's not entirely clear if this is what perturbed him or the description of her husband's visible STDs. My point being, Bonhart isn't some obelisk of absolute evil that has absolutely no end whatsoever. It does have morals to an extent and is still human. That is, if you look past the torturing, kidnapping, and entrapment of a child, but I digress. To name a few other things that Bonhart has done, we can talk about how he beheaded the entire group of the rats to traumatize Ciri, including Missile, Ciri's lover at the time. He also beat Ciri within an inch of her life and tortured her, capturing her and kidnapping her, forcing her to fight in an arena. Yes, he forced her to kill after buying her a sword though, so it's okay. Obviously, prevailing in a 6v1 versus relatively well-versed fighters is no small feat. Also, beating Ciri, someone who's pretty proficient in fighting herself, was no small feat either. Though she was nowhere near her full potential, she was still a foe to be reckoned with. This, however, is not the extent of Bonhart's atrocities, as he later goes on to keep Yennefer captive. During Yen's captivity, he attempts to psychologically influence Yen, manipulating her into thinking that Geralt has fallen. Yen, of course, is not believing that whatsoever, as she has too much faith in Geralt. Yen eventually gets one over on Bonhart, striking a blow on him and forcing a fork into his face. She attempted to strike him with the sharp edge of the shackles, however was unsuccessful in taking out Bonhart's eye. Bonhart then gets enraged and tries to force himself onto Yen. Bonhart calls upon 2 guards that are present to hold Yen down while he has his way with her. The guards, however, dismiss this notion, saying it's not their job and none of the sort will be happening here. To highlight one more thing from the books, and this is in reference to whether or not Bonhart is capable of killing a Witcher or not, Yennefer actually states that he only has a chance against small puppies, referencing Ciri, and then obviously going on later to say that he had no chance against someone like Geralt. Yennefer seems to believe that Bonhart has absolutely no chance against someone like Geralt and can only hunt small fry. So, is that the video over? Have we come to our conclusion? Well, not exactly. Yennefer's word can't be taken as gospel here. People are capable of getting things wrong, especially when you have a bias against them like Yennefer does towards Bonhart. As discussed earlier, Leo Bonhart did 6v1 the rats. On top of this, Bonhart would go on to completely embarrass Cahir, who is a pretty skilled fighter at Stygia Castle. He was also able to recognize that Cahir was in fact not Geralt based off of 1 or 2 exchanges of blows, meaning, once again, he has seen witchers fight before at the very least, if not fought them himself. Similarly, he also noticed that Ciri was trained by witchers just based off 1 or 2 exchanges. I don't think that this solidifies that he has fought witchers before, but it definitely means that he's either studied how they fight or seen how they fight firsthand. Something that people may bring up as an anti-feat for Bonhart is that he was not able to react to Yen's surprise attack. However, these things just do happen, and I don't think that this is necessarily an anti-feat for Bonhart, and if we counted this as an anti-feat for Bonhart, Geralt has so many anti-feats that are inconsistent with his actual power. Bonhart also being defeated at the hands of Ciri at Stigger Castle is not really an anti-feat for Bonhart either, as this was a relatively big surprise for him when Ciri did what she did. Ciri had also kind of been training for this moment anyway, and the environment really suited her considering her build and her agility in comparison to Bonhart's. All of this being said, I don't think that this is enough evidence that Bonhart did in fact kill a witcher and then another witcher and then another witcher. Witchers themselves are a breed of their own, both literally and figuratively. Witchers are roughly 2 times stronger and 10 times faster than the average human. This is greatly enhanced with potions. Witchers even have accelerated healing and better senses than humans. The thing is, Geralt beat 4 high-level assassins while on potions. It was a pretty difficult fight for him, but he did end up pulling through and taking the victory in that fight. Geralt is of course double mutated, meaning he is stronger than other witchers, but not by an insane amount that he's at the very top of the food chain with no contest whatsoever. A witcher on average being 2 times stronger and 10 times faster than a human makes it very unbelievable that a human beat witchers, especially in such a consistent fashion that he's beating 3 of them. But let's assume that he did. Let's say that Leo Bonhart did defeat 3 witchers. How could he have even done that? If you couldn't tell, I'm kind of ruling out the possibility that Bonhart beat them in a straight up 1v1 at both of their pinnacles. I just don't see a reality where a human can beat a witcher, especially when they're on potions, if they're both in their prime. I don't think any amount of skill can close the gap there. Defeating 3 witchers implies a level of consistency. For the pre-discussed reasons, namely Yen's doubt, Geralt's feats, and witchers' general superiority to men, it makes it incredibly hard to envision a mere man beating 3 witchers. I think it's more than enough evidence to surmise that Leo Bonhart probably did not kill these witchers at their peaks. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. Even witchers themselves are fallible, and it is possible for them to lose a fight. That pretty much wraps up how I think this went down. Given the evidence that I've provided in this video, I don't see a reality where someone as skilled as even Bonhart could take down 3 witchers, one and then another. You guys are free to disagree with me if you like. I think this went down by Bonhart meticulously planning how he's going to beat them, not just facing them in a one-on-one in a chaotic and unorderly scenario. So too, I think that the witchers were probably out of their prime and not on potions, because if they were, I think that they would just decimate Bonhart, unless that is they are incredibly inexperienced, in which case I don't think it's much of a flex to kill a witcher at all. So that sums up my opinion. I think the gap in power is just too great. The fact that it's a consistent thing that he's killed 3 witchers makes it so that it couldn't have just been 3 strikes of luck, at least I don't think. To glaze over a few other ways as to how he could have gained these medallions, we can talk about how he could have gotten them from witchers who have died in a fight with a monster. I'm unsure if that's in Bonhart's character to do so, however, so I'm not going to rule that as a possibility. Another thing that's always concerned me and irked me when reading the books is that 3 witcher medallions around your neck would be incredibly annoying, considering medallions tremble when in the presence of magic. And as we know, Bonhart is around magic quite a little bit. There's definitely a strong case either way if you want to say that Bonhart did kill these witchers or did not kill these witchers. I believe Bonhart did kill these witchers, but it wasn't the type of one-on-one fight with someone like Geralt's level of strength as most people imagine it is. My take is that Bonhart killed 3 witchers that were not in their prime or very inexperienced, but I do believe that he has killed 3 witchers. Just to wrap things up, Bonhart is an incredibly skilled swordsman. It's clear why this is so highly debated. I doubt we'll ever get a clear and concise answer from Sapkowski. Things being up for interpretation in the Witcher series is what makes them so fantastic. It allows for the community, us, to have such a great discussion between ourselves about whether it did or did not happen. Regardless on your position of whether Bonhart killed these witchers or not, it's impossible to deny that he's a very powerful character. Maybe one day I'll make a list of the strongest characters in the books. If you guys would like to see a video like that, please do let me know. But until then, keep your eyes peeled on my channel for more Witcher lore content. That just about wraps us up for today's video though. If you think I missed anything, please let me know in the comments below, but please keep it respectful in the comments if you are going to leave a comment. Attack the idea and not the person. Shout out to It's Alex for becoming a member, a long-term member of the community and the Discord server. I appreciate it very much, man. If you enjoyed, please do consider subscribing and liking the video. Thank you all so much for 1,000 subs and over 100k, nearly over 200k on the Geralt vs Bonhart video. I really can't thank you guys enough. There's much more to come from me in the future, and I hope you guys will stick around. The next video I upload will probably be my 1k special, but until then, I'll see you guys next time. Love.